Once upon a time in a land not so far away, let's call it downtown Philistine, there was some serious beef brewing between two groups, the Israelites and the Philistines. And trust me, this wasn't your average Twitter and TikTok feud. This was old school, meet me at the parking lot drama. Now the Philistines had a secret weapon, and his name was Goliath. This guy wasn't just big, he was huge. Imagine a dude so tall he made basketball players look like they belonged at a daycare. Picture this, a walking, talking skyscraper, clad in armor that glinted in the sunlight, with a spear that looked more like a tree trunk. Every morning, Goliath would step out into the valley with all the swagger of a guy who knew no one could touch him. He would pound his chest and shout, "Hey, Israelites! Why waste time with a full-blown battle? Send one guy to fight me. If he wins, we'll be your servants. But if I win, you will be ours." And this wasn't a one-time deal. Oh, no. Goliath kept this routine going for 40 days straight. 40 days of being the human equivalent of a car alarm that no one could shut off. Meanwhile, on the Israelite side, things were tense. Soldiers huddled in their tents, whispering things like, "Have you seen that guy? He probably eats an entire cow for breakfast. No way I'm fighting him." Well, on the Israelite side, there was a boy called David. Now, David wasn't a soldier, not even close. He was a teenager, barely out of the sheep fields, where he spent most of his days herding and plucking out tunes on his harp. One morning, David's dad said, "Son, pack up some bread and cheese and take it to your brothers at the battlefield. And hey, don't forget to say hi to King Saul if you see him." So, David shows up basket in hand, looking like he is delivering ancient DoorDash. But as soon as he arrives, he hears Goliath's thunderous voice echoing across the valley. "What's up with this guy?" David asks. "Why is everyone just letting him run his mouth?" His brothers, already embarrassed by their little brother's presence, roll their eyes. "Go home, David. This isn't a playground, it's a battlefield." But David wasn't about to back down. "I'll fight him," he says, his voice unwavering. Gossip began to spread, and word of David's boldness reaches King Saul. The king sends for him, expecting to see some mighty warrior, and instead finds a scrawny teenager with a sling and a whole lot of confidence. The king thought to himself, "Does he think this is one of those TikTok challenge?" "Kid," King Saul says, "you're like 5 foot nothing. That guy out there, he's a walking mountain. I will tell you a secret, don't tell anyone. Even I, the king, I peed in my pant when I saw him. Are you sure about this?" David doesn't flinch. "My name is David, also known as Small but Mighty. I wrestle lions and bears when they try to steal my sheep. Goliath, he's just another big noisemaker, and I've got this man." Saul shrugs, handing over his armor. But when David tries it on, it's like a kid playing dress-up in his dad's suit. The armor clanks and hangs off him awkwardly. "This isn't going to work. This armor thing is not my style. You know, I am kind of a Gen Z warrior," David says, taking it off. "I've got my slingshot, and that's all I need." David heads to a nearby brook, kneels down, and carefully selects 5 smooth stones. The sun glints off the water as he slips them into his pouch. Then, with his slingshot in hand, he steps onto the battlefield. David doesn't flinch. "You come at me with swords, spears, and all your arrogance, but I come at you with something greater, the power of God. And this slingshot." Without wasting a second, David loads a stone into his sling. He starts spinning it faster and faster, the tension in the air thick enough to cut with a knife. Then, thwack! The stone flies through the air and strikes Goliath square in the forehead. Goliath, the giant, freezes. His eyes widen. He wobbles like a tower of Jenga. And then, crash! He hits the ground with a thunderous thud. The Philistines, standing in awe, began to whisper to each other, "Wait, did that just happen?" David doesn't stop. He marches over, grabs Goliath's massive sword, and finishes the job. Then, with the sword raised high, he turns to the Philistine army and says, "Anyone else want to try me?" The Philistines, they scatter like leaves in the wind. And the Israelites, they charge down the hill, chasing their enemies and claiming victory. And that, my friends, is how a teenager with a slingshot and an unshakable faith took down a giant and changed history forever. Moral of the story? Never underestimate the underdog, especially if they've got God, courage, and a killer aim. Thank you so much for watching. Please support us by subscribing to our channel. Your support helps us reach a wide range of people. We aim to tell the Bible stories in a fun and interesting way.